Lucid appears reluctant to NACS needs high-voltage version. Lucid Motors is not expected to be among the first movers to adopt Tesla's North American charging standard, NACS. The Wall Street Journal's Stephen Wilmot had an opportunity earlier this month to speak with Lucid Motors CEO Peter Rawlinson and ask him about the whole CCS1 to NACS transition. As we can see in the video, see from about 7.00 here or a small part in a tweet below. Lucid's boss does not appear to be too excited about NACS. He pointed out that the CCS1 and NACS are just plastic plugs with some copper. The far more important thing, in his opinion, is not the plug, but the high voltage, a level of 1000 volts. Which must be utilized to reduce the current assuming the same power and losses, and thus increase efficiency. That's fundamental, according to Peter Rawlinson. The Lucid Air model is known for its ultra-high efficiency, long range over 500 miles, according to the EPA, and ultra-fast charging capability, which is beyond plaid. One of the key elements to charge quickly at up to over 300 kilowatts is the high-voltage battery system of up to around 900 V. The combined charging system CCS1 charging standard fully supports such a voltage level today. And there is a growing number of CCS1 fast chargers ready for up to 350 kilowatts of power at up to 800 to 1000 volts. In other words, CCS1 does the job for Lucid. In the case of the NACS, as far as we know, Tesla cars and Tesla superchargers V3 are currently using a voltage level of up to 500 volts DC output. This significantly limits the ability to fast charge cars with a higher voltage battery like the Lucid Air, Hyundai Ioniq 5, or Porsche Taycan, as long as there is no special on-board solution for that. We saw this issue in a real-world test 50 kilowatts charging of a Lucid Air when Tesla opened some of its chargers to non-Tesla e-versus. It was very well presented by our colleague Kyle Connor out of spec below. Without increasing the voltage, Lucid does not have much interest in getting access to the Tesla supercharging network today through an adapter or natively, because the charging power will be too low and non-competitive as compared to CCS1 chargers at Electrify America or other networks with 800 volts chargers. A similar voltage-related concern was raised also by Hyundai Motor. Although we believe that it has a lower impact because a lower voltage on the eGMP cars 600-800 volts depending on the battery pack, and a lower peak charging power 220 kilowatts versus 300 kilowatts on Lucid. But the nature of the issue is exactly the same. Power output will be compromised by the way. The same concerns the 400,500 volts CCS1 chargers as well. EV manufacturers, which already adopted higher voltage battery systems, want a higher voltage fast charging infrastructure. Ultimately, more and more EVs are expected to be equipped with such battery systems, because this is simply a more efficient solution. Peter Rawlinson says that 1000 volts on the infrastructure side is the future, and we agree. For high-end, and most of the mainstream electric cars, we will probably see 600 to 1000 volts battery systems. There might be a segment with 400 volts battery systems as well, entry-level smaller batteries. Tesla hints at 1000 volts. It's coming. Tesla, when announcing the opening of its proprietary charging connector in November 2022, said that there is a 1000 volts configuration of the NACS connector, compared to the currently used 500 volts version. Moreover, it will be capable of supplying up to 1 megawatt of power. In other words, as soon as the company and other OEMs will start producing 1000 volt chargers, plugs, cables, and inlets vehicle side, the issue will gradually fade. The CCS1 chargers initially were also only low voltage 50,100 kilowatts units. Another thing is that Ford, General Motors and Rivian, which joined the NACS coalition, would not decide on the switch without securing a clear path of supporting higher voltage battery systems, which they are using already or intend to use in the future. This makes us completely calm that NACS will support 1000 volts and maximum charging speed. Maybe in 1 year, maybe in 2, most likely it will be combined with the 350 kilowatts V4 charging stalls. Longer cable is needed to reach charging inlets in various EVs. As we understand, Lucid's position is more related to its current interest. They will not benefit much from the Tesla supercharging network today, and they might not be willing to support Tesla competitor as long as possible, to eventually join once everything is ready. If the entire market will really move towards NACS, that's a totally reasonable position. The last element is that Lucid is interested in bidirectional charging vehicle to grid V2G applications. And this also must be fully outlined by Tesla, so other OEMs could consider adoption. Maybe CHAR-IN will help to standardize NACS to avoid misunderstandings. One more thing pointed out by Peter Rawlinson is that one of the most important things in the EV industry in the US is to support overnight home charging. AC level 2, because this is the dominant way of recharging versus the grid requires strengthening. We would also add the issue of street charging for those who don't have a dedicated parking spot. Source: reposted and summarized from Mark Kane at Inside EVS.